Hi, my name is Joe, and today I will show you how to build a custom case for the Waves LV1. In this one I have the Crest Tactus front of house unit, and this all will fit into the Peli 1637 case. I will also show you everything that went wrong, all the mistakes I did, so if you try to build this case, you might do a better job than I did. But it's fine, it's pretty good. It's just some small things that could be improved. So yeah, let's go. Alright, so the first thing is to take this 5-unit case from Thomann. I'll leave a link in the description, but this one is a bit too deep, so I have to cut it, and it should be exactly 42 centimeters. That's about 16.5 inches. So next we will do the cutout for the fit controller. This should be exactly 28 centimeters or about 11 inches. Measured from the front, and the sides should be 19 millimeters, which is exactly a little more than half an inch. And the cutout is a bit tricky on the front, just by the rack strips, and I kind of messed it up a bit, so it's a bit ugly, but I mean it works. But yeah, I'm a sound engineer, not a handyman, as you can see, so I mean it's fine. And this cutout is, you don't have to be dead straight, because we will cover this up later on. Next is the cutout for the handles, and this is just a hole to make it easier to get it out of the case. And it's a bit front heavy, so don't put the handle too far back, rather a bit to the front. And we also need a hole on the top side to get cables in and out of the case. Then I just flip the case upside down and make a few cutouts in the bottom. And this is just air holes, and I could actually take more of this out in order to decrease the weight of the case, because it will be quite heavy, so anything that's not needed should really be taken out. And then I drill holes to mount the rack strip on the back side. And this will hold the computer and also the back plate. And actually I should have put this a bit further back. When measuring all of this, I forgot to account for the power cord of the Tactus unit. I found a solution that works pretty well, but actually it would have been better to just place the rack strips a bit further back. And here's the rack strip, and actually this should be 5 units on each side, but I forgot to order 2 of these. So my solution was to cut it in half and then just use 2.5, or actually 3 units. This piece is 6 units high. So I will use 3 units on each side, and then I have to drill extra holes on the back plate. But it's fine, but it would have been better to actually have it 5 units, so it would cover the whole height. Then again, flipping the case over and mounting a few rubber feet. Then the last thing on the case build is to place this rubber lift on all the cutouts, so that I don't hurt myself. And that's pretty much it, and you should have a case that looks something like this. And actually you could cut out more of the metal, because it will be quite heavy. Alright, so it's time to mount all the gear, and I'll just start with a basic power strip. And then it's time to mount the computer. I use the Intel NUC mounted on a 1-unit rack strip with dual outlets for network cables. I mount this on the back side as far down as it goes. Next is the switch, and I just use dual-sided tape to kind of hold it in place. I'll also use an external sound card, and this will be placed so it's easy accessible from the front. And again, I just use dual-sided tape to kind of hold it in place. Then I made this combined cable with one USB for the sound card and one Cat5 cable for networking. This one goes to the external computer outside of this case that I use for house music, for recording, for smart. Next is a Cat6 cable from the computer to the switch. And then there's two Cat6 cables from the switch to each of the outlets on the back side. And also a flat Cat6 cable that goes to the front of the Tactus front of house unit. Then I have this dual cord with one HDMI and one power cable, and this is for the external screen. I use a small external screen, but this could obviously be used for a second touch screen. And these are TRS cables that go from the output of the sound card and into the Tactus front of house unit. So yeah, this is basically all of the cabling inside the box. And now it's time to put in the Tactus front of house unit. And the thing to remember is to not place it at the top of the rack strip, but one hole down. So it's 1/3 of a unit from the top. And this will make the fit controller to fit. If you were to put it in the top, this whole thing will not fit in the Peli case. So one hole down is the way to go. And now the Tactus unit actually work kind of as a stand for the fit controller. So come around to the back side. I will obviously connect the fit controller and then also plug in the power cord for the front of house for the Tactus unit. And as you can see, the power cord is a bit further back than I would had hoped for. So placing the rack strip further back would solve this, but I just use like a rubber buffer on the back plate. It actually works out quite nice. And also here you can see why it would be beneficial to have the rack strip go all the way up. Then I wouldn't have to drill an extra hole in the back plate. But I mean, it's fine. Then on the front side, I just connect the flat Cat6 cable, also the TRS from the sound card. And then to cover it up, I use this rack plate with the brush. But since we put the front of house unit one hole down, this brush actually doesn't really fit. So I just cut off the lower part of the rack plate. And the last thing is to just connect the touch screen. And then I just connect this small screen that is obviously optional. Alright, so here we have it, and I've added a few extra features. This headphone holder that swings in during shipping and then swings out during showtime. And I also have this angled XLR because in here you have your talkback microphone that just fits perfectly in here. Also, we have the sound card hidden right here with the volume knob, easy accessible, and easy enough to plug in a microphone if you're running smart or something. This would be a perfect sound card for that. Also, I used the sound card for house music before and after shows. With the volume knob here, I can adjust volume without occupying one of the faders on the console. Also, if I lock the console, it can be adjusted by the light tech or bartender or whoever I showed this hidden knob, or I can just hide it. On here I have the VU meters for the output and the master bus compressor. Oftentimes I put the set list over here, and it's just small and handy and not as bulky as another big touch screen. So right now the screen just stands on top of the case, so it's a bit wiggly. So what I typically do is I use a super clamp to hold it in place, and then I can use this Manfrotto arm to let me just put this in place, and then we have a stand for the talkback microphone. So on the back here we have the power cord, then two network ports. Both of these go straight into the switch, so either one can be used. Up here we have HDMI and power to the small screen. Also the CAT and USB cable for the computer. And during shipping this can obviously just be pulled inside, like so. So during shipping I have these two pieces of foam that I place on the controller in order not to damage the screen. And then I just fold the screen over and put it down in the case. So yeah, that's it, a low-cost solution for the Waves LV1 system. It is a bit heavy, but it has some features that I don't find in other cases, and I'm quite strong, so it's not a problem. If you have any questions about this case or the LV1 system in general, just leave a comment or find me online, and I'll be happy to answer all of your questions.